My name is Robert Jones, partner at B2B Connect, and joining me is Riyadh Derouiche, a principal at Kearney. Riyadh has more than 15 years of experience focused on national real estate development and deep functional expertise in digital transformation. He describes himself as an enthusiast on transforming and modernizing sectors to upgrade performance, and his expertise can bring light on the digital transformation impacting the construction and real estate sectors. Over the course of our discussion, we'll look at exactly what is meant by a digital strategy, the benefits it can bring, and how an organization can turn a series of initial technology trials into a meaningful approach that is aligned with the goals of a business. And of course, how do you make sure that your most important assets, your employees, are on board with this journey? Now, Riyadh, when I talk to people in the construction sector, I get so many different interpretations when people talk about digital transformation and digital strategy. So I think a good place to start is for you to give us a description of when people mention these phrases, when they talk digital transformation or digital strategy, what do you think they mean? And in particular, if you could focus on digital strategy, as this is the core focus of our discussion today.
Yeah, good morning, Robert. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure. And yes, when we talk about digital transformation, there are a lot of misconceptions. For example, many associated to BIM, which is building information modeling, that's just a tool, and many other 4IR technologies. However, when we talk about digital transformation, let's be specific for the engineering and construction industry. And it's about putting modern and future tools and methods for the construction industry life cycle. What do we mean by that? Modern and future tools, it's about data analytics, blockchain, innovative surveying, machine learning, robotics, VR, AR, multiple of the acronyms that you already know. However, putting it in place for the construction industry life cycle, it's about looking at the normal business as usual, business development and bidding, project planning, mobilization execution, handover and payment, and also all the back office collaboration. So each one of these tools can serve a purpose within this life cycle. For example, in bidding, it's about pre-qualification, estimation, market intelligence, even subcontractor pre-qualification in a market space. Then you can go step by step in the project planning about visualizing your future construction work, mobilizing around your staffing and team management, handover and payment, which is a critical challenge within the subcontractor and the value chain to your suppliers through blockchain technology for earlier payment, and many other of the back office collaboration that can happen through digital technologies. This is to reap off the right benefits for the industry.
Many businesses we know understand that digital transformation is important, but they don't take those first steps. What, in your opinion, is holding them back?
You're totally right on highlighting these challenges. There are both challenges that are generic and industry specific. On the general transformation challenges, there are topics around perception, involvement, and fear of the change. There's other elements of confusions of tools versus business problems. And there are also competing priorities against budgets. An organization is still run as a whole, and there are specific budgets to be managed, and you have to choose your priorities. This is on general transformation. However, on second layer, it's about industry-specific challenges. And here in the construction, these are big conglomerates. They are often acquiring small companies in different locations with different cultures, and decisions are made at different locations. It's an industry that is project-based in different challenges. When you are having a project that has a start and a 3-year time frame, and then you move on to a complete new project with new suppliers and new contractors and new employee mix. There is also the nature of the business. Unfortunately, it's an industry that was based on lump sum contract. No matter the risk, no matter the challenge, no matter the quality. So often the challenges are pushed away in the value chain. There is also elements around upskilling, reskilling, and attracting new generations to work in this industry. And finally, the need of involvement of multiple players, the suppliers, the subcontractors, to bring them on board of your technological journey transformation. And these are a few of the challenges we can mention.
I mean, that's a lot to take on board for any company, really. And I guess following up from what you're saying there, how do you start that journey? And can you cherry pick? Can you say, okay, look, certain parts of that are really important to us, but other parts, not so much?
Yes, I would always think about 4 elements to start a transformative journey, specifically in digital transformation. It's all, first and foremost, it's about involving everyone. It's about making them part of the transformative journey. Second, it's about clarifying the business problem you're aiming to solve. Thirdly, you need to have a structured communication to every level, to the board, to your management, and to your employees. And finally, number 4, which is about identifying a pilot, and the construction industry is ideal for that because it's a project-based, and show the benefits quickly, show results for your different stakeholders.
So, I mean, I think actually you've made a very good point there, which is that the quicker you can start to show results, the quicker you can show the tangible benefits, the more likely people are to actually come on board with this. And the more likely you're going to get continued support, you'll get board support, and maybe even then you can start to look at how do you take and expand that into something bigger.
Yes. The question around benefits or tangible benefits is which benefits, for who, and how quickly you can demonstrate them. So when I speak about benefits, I'm talking about boosting productivity that is so much needed in the construction industry. It's about being more efficient, winning time. It's also about avoiding clashes early on and visualizing those clashes. It's very importantly around improving safety, reducing risk for your employees in the construction site, which is a key element of the industry. And also relevant elements of benefits is about paying your suppliers on time by having real-time information. Now, many of these benefits are relevant, and there is a long list more of it, but you need to think about who are you bringing these benefits to. For your board, it's about value, it's about return on investment, it's about higher revenue and lower cost. For your employees, what's in it for them? It's about skills, it's about long-term jobs, about employability in the market. Your suppliers are about having continuous projects, having cash flow, and being paid on time. And finally, your clients, who are at the core of your business continuity. It's about delivering faster, delivering quality, and being more efficient in cost.
Okay, now that's a really good point you're making there, because something that we're finding quite significantly at the moment is around the whole area of cash flow. It's around the area of how do you keep your business going in a tough time, which is clearly what we're going through at the moment. And then you look at something like a digital strategy, and you can see the benefits of it, and you've explained the tangible benefits, but you need to win board support. So as you start looking at how do I get the money? How do I get the investment? How do you think companies or people should be approaching their board to get that return on investment and get that support? How do you define that strategy?
Yes. So first and foremost, looking at the board, you need to look at what metrics are critical. And you mentioned one that is quite important, which is ROI. It's about net profit over the cost that you're incurred. But also another very important metric is around ROCE, return on capital employed. And this is relevant because in your digital transformation, you might have multiple rounds of investments of CapEx, and ROCE reflects the EBIT over CapEx, so the profit of a specific investment. Your board will be all over these financial metrics, but also in the long term about economical metrics. Digital transformation can bring you more safety, can bring more preservation of the ecosystem, more sustainability, lower carbon footprint. So by not having, for example, not having multiple iteration on the work on the job, by having lower time on the job. So multiple of these financial and economical benefits need to be brought back to the board in order to compete for budget, as we said before. Okay. But about involvement, sorry to interrupt you, it's your board, it's your management, and it's also your employees. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, and that's a very good point. And actually what I was going to go on to, listening to what you were saying, was that as you approach that board, as you start thinking about it, how do you put together the do's and don'ts? What would you advise that people should be thinking about? Certainly the don'ts to avoid, but what are the do's to actually create that positive environment?
Yeah. So relevant to what we were just saying, don't forget about your people. Don't believe only in technologies. Technology can get obsolete. Your people will not. Technologies can get obsolete. Your business problems will not. And don't go all over the place trying to put as much technology as on the ground as possible. It's about solutions. It's about business problem solving. It's not about technology only. What I want to focus also is on the do's. Do a corporate strategy. Focus on business problems. Communicate the strategy to all levels of the organization and show the benefits early. This is not a technology problem. This is a business problem. That's why we need to treat it as such. And we need to keep the balance of the future of the industry and the future of the corporation with the immediate needs and the short-term benefits and the requirements of your projects.
Now, you mentioned something there that I want to come back to, but which is the people element. But before I do, I just want to ask you, as you start to put your strategy together, and you're talking about making sure that it's seen as a business problem or a business challenge that you're trying to solve, how, with these digital strategies, how ambitious should you be? Because I've had people say, kind of shoot for the moon, and then other people say, you know, just take it in smaller chunks, you know, because that way you can do your proof of concept quickly. You can actually show benefits much faster. So when you're doing your digital strategy, should it be project-based? Should it be organizational-based? What would you advise?
Yes. First and foremost, we need to be ambitious. We need to inspire people. We need to look at the future. Therefore, we need to have a futuristic strategy, corporate strategy at the organization level overall. We need to have the ambition that drives people to a transformative new era. And this is possible with the digital transformation in the construction industry. The construction industry is in deep need of a performance improvement. While we are looking at these futuristic scenarios, we need to have a pragmatic lens of the short-term, immediate project-based pilots. So it means that we know where is our ambition and vision. We know where we are going, and then we break it down in pieces of what are the steps to get to that future. What are the pilots? What are the project-based solutions that we will implement today and now in order to show benefits to our people, to our management, and to our board. The future is constructed one day at a time. Let's not forget about that.
So, and certainly when you talk to the industry, there is a feeling that they're a little bit behind when it comes to digital construction. And it depends really on what region you're in. You know, if you go to Europe, there's a feeling that it's moving along quite quickly. I've spoken to people in the US as well who are really looking at proof of concepts on some quite interesting and innovative projects that are helping them improve the flow of a project on site. So are there particular areas that you think people should be looking at? Is it back end, or is it on site, or does it not matter?
Well, I would look at the value chain of the industry itself. I would look where I can prioritize and make an impact immediately. So the link to the construction life cycle, it's about business development, bidding, management, execution, staffing, and being paid. And then there is the whole back end that collaborate across the industry. As I see it as a pilot and a project-based first step, These are the stages where we can increase revenue or reduce cost across the value chain of execution of a specific project. The back end is usually a more long-term collaborative effort that takes stage by stage. I would start with the supplier program. I would start looking at the interest of the different subcontractors and how to engage more of this supplier. But the more you need to engage the ecosystem, the longer it takes. Therefore, focus on the immediate where you can reap value immediately, for example, in business development, where you can generate immediate revenues, or in cash flow management, where you can, in these critical times, have lower cycles in order to manage and make sure that the company doesn't go bust.
Okay, and then you talked about the people, and I think that's a really interesting point, because one of the dangers is that you don't take them on the journey, and there are many projects in all industries where a great idea didn't come to fruition because the people implementing it didn't think about how the people on the ground like to work, how they have to operate, what their needs are. So when you start to look at something like a digital transformation and start to put together your digital strategy, how should you be viewing the people element so that it becomes a positive transformation and is not seen as a threat?
Definitely, this is the most important point that you're raising here. Your people are the #1 priority, and they should be involved from day one. There is no doubt about looking for your people in order to sustain and ensure the future of your company. The digital strategy will put the tools at the disposal of your people. Your people are the ones who are going to reap off the benefits of it. For the company, it means value. For themselves, what's in it for them? It means additional skills. It means more employability within the marketplace, which is important for the future prospect of each one of the individuals. So we need to conduct a corporate strategy at CEO, innovation team, and nucleus level with some technical expertise. We need to keep in mind the people. We need to put their point of view and expertise about how projects are managed on the field and what challenges are really faced. Otherwise, any tool will just sit idle on the side of the project while they are executing the project as we used to do it. We need to have the cross-functional effort to learn at the central team, but we need to immediately move from strategy to execution. We need to communicate to all people. We need to understand their challenges, and we need to go level by level and understand what's in it for them and show them the future, but also listen to their challenges. One of the important elements that goes hand in hand with digital strategy, digital transformation, is a proper upskilling program. Upskilling, reskilling, attracting new generation is the key for digital transformation.
And then I guess the other thing you have to think about here is you take people on a journey, you get them on board, you have your central people who are really pushing a strategy. How do you make sure that the bulk of that knowledge doesn't sit in 1 or 2 people's heads and actually is spread through the organization?
Correct. What you're mentioning is both a challenge and an opportunity. The organization needs to be built to be resilient over time. Therefore, the knowledge and the transformation need to be spreading across the organization. It starts at the nucleus level. I agree. However, over time, the solutions and the benefits will only be delivered by all your frontliners having these tools at hand, knowing what to do with them, and being able to get value back from the project execution. Therefore, the faster you get the information and know-how from the top nucleus to the different field worker, supervisor, organization that is actually delivering the project, the more value you will deliver for the company, but also you will be building a more resilient organization over time. What it means is that you will be an attractive organization to work for, and you will be achieving one of the third pillars of skilling, which is attracting more personnel into your organization to get additional skills. So you're bringing value or indirect value to your brand by having more people involved.
Okay, so you start to look at how do you get more people involved. What about the information you're gathering? Is it, you know, how are you organizing and storing that so that it continues to have value and can be built on over time?
Yes. So information gathering, information management, and deriving it to a solution is one of the most complex elements and tools to put in place. You would need your team on the ground executing the project and capturing this information. You would need a central team that would be processing, like a data scientist would be processing this information. However, you would still need your team to work with them and transform this into what business problems, what are these data saying, and what are the learning from this project to the next project. So you would need a collaboration between the new roles of technology and the traditional roles to merge together and reap off the benefits of these new tools of data gathering, data storage, data management, data transformation to business solutions, and information for the next project.
You're talking about many different teams joining together here. So how do you manage that? How do you ensure that people are empowered to make decisions? Because if you have different teams, possibly even different organizations, there can be people who are just resistant or say, well, you're not my boss.
Yes, you're right. And that happens in every cross-functional work that is required. It's a journey. The transformation is a journey. You need to respect the current guidelines and structure that exist. You need to be able to add value and work together. How do you do that? It's a whole change management topic that needs to be put in place in stages, not all in at once, needs to be planned for. And you need to make sure to celebrate the different successes, small and big. You need to be able to celebrate successes with your team. You need to be also able to monitor early identification of challenges. You need to see what kind of metrics are relevant. At a later stage, you need to be also able to communicate, but most importantly, also listen, get the information back, make adjustments as you go if you're not on the right track. Another is what's in it for them. We talked about the topic of upskilling. The important here is to be an educational journey in which people don't feel fear, but rather improvement in their career. And finally, you need to have development of ambassador mindset. Those who will develop the skills, those who will be your advocates on the field.
As a final question, a final comment really, I suppose, is can you summarize, can you give us a kind of a bullet point overview of the key steps you need to take, the key decisions that you should be looking to make when you start to introduce a digital strategy?
Yes. On digital strategy for engineering and construction industry, I would focus on 5 main points. 1, have a corporate strategy that is ambitious and audacious to transform your organization. 2nd, focus on the business problems you want to solve, not the technologies. 3, make sure you pilot these benefits and reap off the value at project level. 4, communicate to your employees, your board, your management, and your team. And finally, number 5, which is most important, your people. What's in it for them? The upskilling is a key success for the future, for them and for you. These are the 5 points that would make a digital strategy for the construction industry a successful one.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think in summary, see it as a business opportunity, don't see it as a technology challenge, get the right people involved, don't forget about your people, and trial. Try, see what works, and move forwards. Riyadh, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Robert, for having me. It was a great pleasure.